You are watching a master at work.
Yeah.
What is up, my little babies? Welcome to another episode of Music with Lou. Today, as you can see, I have a very special guest in the building, the one and only Coach Will.
In the building.
We go way back. How are you, man?
We go way
back. For those of you who don't know, we went to high school together.
El Dorado, and the old El Dorado Sun Devils.
I know.
Forks
What are
up.
they now?
They are the Firehawks now.
Isn't that so crazy?
It is crazy.
We were always going to be the Sun Devils, but I don't think I've seen you since high school.
It's been
Has it, maybe
15 plus years at this point.
Sheesh. Yeah. What has life been like for you?
Listen, life has been life. And before we get started, I want to say shout out to you.
Oh, man.
The platform has been amazing, to our subscribers, to all the guests that come on. You're doing something amazing for the community.
Oh, thank you so much. Don't make me cry because I sure will. So what was like, okay, so we graduate. What was your life journey like after high school? Let's start. Let's get the backstory and, then we're going to dive into the career and where you are now.
No one really prepares you for what's always next. They tell you, right? Do you have a plan after high school? And sometimes we say yes, sometimes we don't really know. And for me, I thought I knew what I wanted to do. And opportunities come about and you take what's given and you make the best of it.
Yeah.
I got started early in the corporate scene. One of my first jobs was working at a homeless shelter. That was pretty cool.
Oh, wow. What an experience that might have been.
Talk about being 18 years old and you're a supervisor for a shelter. That was another ballpark.
Good for you. Hey, those homeless people be a lot sometimes. You feel like the nerve. You ungrateful, but you know what?
And the life lessons they give you, right? Like,
what was like the craziest life lesson you've taken?
I met a gentleman. I won't name his name, but he considered himself a professional hobo. And I guess those are the people that just travel from state to state across the country.
But a professional one.
A professional at that.
Know this. Okay.
And he was 100% content with his life. 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm 18. I'm like, man, you should figure something else out. He was like, no, son. And he was giving me all this wisdom, and I'm just like, I was baffled by it. Yeah. But that taught me a lot and matured me kind of fast. And fast forward, I got to in sales. I was working for a couple of different car dealerships and made a pretty cool career out of that. I did that for about 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Fun fact, 2015, I was actually the #1 salesperson in the state of Nevada.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
In the state of Nevada. Look at you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you what. And you know what I love to hear? Like, because, a lot of us after high school, we just kind of, luckily I wasn't one of them. But, some of us chose to get straight to work and, like, not ruin our lives. Like, was there ever that time where you had a phase of like, you know what, I just want to be young and, irresponsible for a little bit? Or were you just, as soon as you turned 18, you knew?
I think life kind of made me make a decision to wise up sooner than I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of my fun, high school. High school for me was real fun.
We did have fun in high school.
Yeah, high school was fun. High school was fun. It was a great time. And I started to take care of my younger brother, who's now a freshman in high school.
Does he go to El Dorado?
He's at Desert Pine. So
Traitor.
We'll get into that. We're going to get into that.
Yeah, because I got some questions how you ended up over there, but okay.
But he's he's a freshman now, and when he was little, it was just him and my mom, and I wanted to kind of help out. So being in that environment, trying to help her out, was kind of what propelled me to really push myself to like, let me move up this ladder. And then when you get into the world of sales, it's like you get aggressive will want to get the next one.
Yeah.
You see your first big commission check, you're like, I can do that again.
Yeah.
I can do it again. And it just kind of became that.
And I did see like you did find God at some point, throughout your journey. I remember because it's like seeing the Denzel from younger, and then, just seeing you give your life to God. That was beautiful. What kind of made that
God is
transition?
at the foremost front of my life. He's my foundation. He is my everything. My father was a preacher, God rest his soul. And growing up in high school, I was the church boy who didn't do all the church things. I wanted to kind of be and have fun as any high school kid would.
Yeah.
But you get older, and things take place, and you figure out, what what crossroads you want to take.
Yeah.
I will give a lot of respect to my lovely wife, Charmaine. I met her young. I met her at the age of 21 or 20 actually. And we dated. And at the time I prayed, I knew I wanted to settle down at some point. I didn't think at the age of 23 is when we got married. I didn't think that.
Wow.
I just knew that being as active as I was in church, I didn't want to continue to kind of date around as I had been doing.
Yeah.
I had no idea we would fall in love and get married, and she would be kind of the crutch that propelled me to any level of success I've ever made in life so far.
Wow, shout out to wifey. See, that's what you need, a woman in your life that's going to elevate your life. Okay, so you come from a basketball background.
Yes.
El Dorado.
Yes.
How did you end up? Well, how did your coaching journey begin? First of all,
Listen, great question. I always wanted to coach at some point.
really? Okay.
I did, as a player, and I remember your playing days as well. I remember. Listen, she had a little bit, right? I
was not good. But thanks for being nice.
I remember, you remember all the talks that coaches give you, and the practices, and a lot of that stuff sits with you. Sometimes subconsciously, you don't know. I remember using my high school coach in my on my reference letter for my first job.
Yeah.
I put varsity team captain on my application for a job. And I had to sell to the employer what did it mean for me to be a team captain, right? And doing all of that and being a part of the community, I wanted to find a way to engage with the youth, engage with people like me growing up, to do something that was more productive in life, really to make the opportunity to advance what school is about. You go to school, you go to class, but what's the culture like? Are you a part of a club? If not a club, get a part of a sport.
Yeah.
And what better way than be a head coach and the opportunity to do that, right? So,
that is true. So do you still, talk to any of your previous head coaches from back in the day? You had Uzan too, right?
Yes.
Uzan and Sites.
yes.
What were they like as
Oh my
coaches?
gosh.
I used to see y'all practice dang, the boys in trouble.
Sykes was really cool. He was more laid back. Sykes and Mike were like the yin and yang, Sykes was really laid back, real cool. He didn't want to kind of pull you to the side and reassure you. Mike was like he's the head, right? So he's a little more aggressive, a little more, to the meat and potatoes. But what's fun is we actually work together. So, he's at Desert Pines, and he's a teacher still there. So
I didn't know that.
so
Okay.
being a coach there, this is now year 4 for me. It's great to kind of pick nuggets of wisdom from him and, help me along this journey.
That's crazy. So you guys are all over there. Desert Pine took all of our Sun Devils, man. So what was that experience like? Because I feel like El Dorado, we have some of the best hoopers, and I don't know. I just feel like we don't get a lot of credit. They
Listen,
talk about the Cheyenne hoopers and everybody, which they were phenomenal.
El Dorado was a very special place, and the history, to all my fellow former alumni, all my Sun Devil, Sparkies,
That's how
that generation goes on and on. I remember being in middle school, I went to Bailey, and I remember hearing about, people like DeVale Jackson,
come on.
the greats, right? I remember hearing these names. I remember watching Montrell Clark at Monaco High School and how he propelled his way up, to being the freshman on varsity, the Marcus Morelands. I remember those guys. I looked up to those guys. And then when I had the opportunity to go to high school and play with them, I'm just a young guy trying to figure it out. But to be in that environment and to be associated with names like that, that's amazing.
Yes. So how did you pick girls basketball over boys basketball?
So to go back briefly to my journey, right? I was working for a corporate. I moved on from car sales, got into working for a really cool company called Tesla. I was actually
very cool.
I was actually employee number 40 hired at Tesla, which was really, really awesome opportunity. Worked for Tesla for several years, and an opportunity came for me to work for a tech company called Coinbase, which if you're familiar with cryptocurrency, it's a digital app. So I worked for them for a while, which is really cool. That was like the height of my corporate career journey. And a good buddy of mine, he's the reason why I'm in this chair as head coach. He's the reason why I even have a chance to be in this echelon. That's my big boy, Dame Harris. Shout out to Coach Dame. He got the head coaching job at Desert Pine some years ago. And when he got it, I was one of the first people he called. He said, D, I need you. And me and him go way back. We were friends at Von Tobel long before, I grew chin here, right? So we go way back. And we had always kind of talked about coaching, as life went on. But when the opportunity struck and he was like, hey, man, I'm at the head of the table and I want you here with me. it worked out that the job I had afforded me an opportunity because I worked at home, so it was pretty cool. I talked to the wife, and she was like, "Yeah." So, long story short, he brought me on, and I started off as just a freshman coach. So I coached the freshman boys basketball team, but what was unique is that he wasn't like any ordinary head coach. Some schools you look at them, you have your varsity program, your JV program, and then your freshman program.
Yeah,
he wanted a program where we all operated as one.
That's beautiful.
Which is cool,
yeah,
because now you're looking at development for young and old with one mindset, one mantra, and being a part of that was really cool experience in the very beginning. So I want to shout you out, D, for the opportunity, man.
Shout out to you, D. Okay, so you go from freshman boys to varsity girls.
Freshman boys to varsity girls.
What was that transition like? Do you feel like there's a huge difference between coaching boys and girls, or is it just the same, method because it's basketball?
I get asked that a lot because there's this underlying saying, and I don't really agree with it, but people will say things like, well, girls coaches typically get stuck in that fold of being only a girls coach. And I don't really agree with that. I believe great coaching is an inner desire. It's something that is character driven, and it's something that anybody can do at any level if you put the right atmosphere to it, right? And the difference, I would say, is one, it takes a lot of discipline for yourself. I've learned a great deal of patience. As a former player, and I didn't play higher than high school level, but when you play at a certain level and you're used to a certain pace, and then you go to a beginner stages of basketball, as a coach, it's challenging because you're so excited. You want to teach them all the cool stuff, but you got to slow down and teach them the basics and bring it back to fun and things like that. I will say the girls, though, I found a lot of success because for the most part, they listen. And they don't just listen, but they listen.
Shout out to us female athletes.
They listen with enthusiasm. And I love that. And it makes it so fun because it's like everything you say, like they're at your every word. And it makes me button myself up to know, you know what? I've been put in a position where it's such a blessed opportunity to teach and cultivate these young minds, and I don't take that for granted at all.
I love that. I mean, you seem to have a great group of young ladies, because I know we were tough. We had Coach K and Coach Sites like going through. He's like, man, we don't feel like it today. So like as far as
Coach K,
rest in peace, Coach K. We were gonna talk about that. That was crazy. What was I gonna say? Oh, okay. So do you feel like there is a different delivery you have to have with male athletes versus dealing with young female athletes, or do you kind of, just go in with the same approach?
I think life teaches, you, and again, I'm on the newer generation of this, high school coaching landscape. I watched the interview with you and Mook, man. Shout out to CM.
Oh man,
like that's awesome. He's somebody that has been in the the community of youth sports for a long time.
Yes.
And him and all the others before him and with him. Like I look up to a lot of these people who has been doing it before me. I pay nothing but respect to anybody who dedicates their time to pour back into a young community. Right. What I found is that the boys, a lot of times, I'm looking at myself, whereas now I'm a father and I have a daughter. My approach is now different. Not that I'm softer, it's just that I understand, I understand what my word means. I understand what it means to be on time. I understand what it means to value commitment. And I try to instill that, along with the competitive discipline as well as the development of the skill level itself.
So how would you explain your coaching style? Are you like would you be the Sites or the Uzan? The crazy aggressive coach, or our Coach K that we had, rest in peace, Coach K. She was just, on it. Like, what is your coaching style? And I definitely have to come out and check you out, man. I gotta come to the games.
Please. I will say it's still being defined, really. On campus, amongst my peers, they call me the fun coach. And at first, I took that as a shot because what do you mean fun coach? Like I'm very competitive, and in everything, whether it's basketball, Monopoly. I'm a golfer now, so like I'm super competitive. But I would say I focus a lot on culture and development because I believe in anything in life, especially with basketball. If it's something that means a lot to you, you have to first love it. Yeah, and with loving it, you define what does it mean to be committed to it, right? And my job as a coach is I try to shape that environment. I try to empower. I give a lot more freeway for my women's team in terms of empowering their own emotions and solving their own problems. Where sometimes my experience with coaching boys is I almost play them like a game controller, where sometimes I have to press X. Like you have to do it this way. You know, whereas, you know, coaching the ladies is like I empower them to understand what they're going through, right? And it also helps having, you know, other, you know, female staff on my you know, coaching staff that helps out as well from the areas that I can't really speak into. But in terms of basketball, in terms of development, like I really empower and cultivate a safe space where, hey, you can fail, but guess what? Coach is here for you.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, that's heavy. I like how you broke that down. So now that, because I remember when we were younger in high school, we would always hear about, you know, the coaching community or this coach don't like us. And, you know, coming from El Dorado, we were known to have like the coaches that nobody really liked and we had to pay for it in games.
Yeah.
But now that you are a part of the coaching community, what is it like?
I haven't ran into any ill situations, I would say, amongst the community coaches. And part of that is like my I guess you could say it's like my downfall because I see the good in everybody. I don't know.
That's good.
It's just something. So, you know, there's the competitive nature where it's like, hey, you know what? Now, you know, we're gonna show up and get your program. You know, but then there's a respect. Like, and then I look at people who really study this. So I'm a student, not of the game like I used to be, but now I'm a student of coaching. I'm a student of life. So I'm always looking at, you know, man, I like how they put that practice plan together.
Yeah.
I like their approach. All the way to, I like, you know, the way, you know, the coaches all look uniform from the bench. Like I like that. Like I look at every facet of a coach and how they operate the program and how they get engaged, not just the players, but how does a coach influence the culture on campus? Right? Like what are students talking about on campus? Like
that's good.
That's the stuff that I look at, you know, and everybody is not like that. But for me, I'm looking at the other aspect of coaching that you don't see in the newspapers.
Yeah.
It's not defined by wins and losses, but what's the impact that coach is now having on that school's campus, on that neighborhood community, right? On that rec center. Like, what is that coach doing? So,
dang, you're making me want to be a coach. I've always thought about it, but then I'm like, nah, I'd be like the crazy coach that everybody hated. But I just understand the importance, like, you know, Sites and Coach K for me, they were, man, it was really a family community. Like, I remember I'd be like, Sites, I didn't eat today. Can I come to your house real quick? Like, grab some lunch. You know, it was just really family. And Coach K was also big on that. Like, okay, we got to have sleepovers. We got to do bonding trips. And I remember they Coach Cartered us one time, man.
Oh, my God.
We was on that tournament acting crazy, not playing like a team.
Listen, I don't think you can sum up your full athletic experience if you have not had a Coach Carter experience.
Oh.
If you haven't had one of those, like, listen, I hate my coach right now.
The thoughts that go through you.
But you know what? It's all for like the better. You know, when you're 14, 15 years old, you don't see it at that point. But it's like as you become, like, I'm 34 now, I remember those hard conversations.
Man.
Like, and you're like, I'm better for it.
Yeah. And those moments where, you know, even through that Coach Carter moment, I remember just running around a golf course and we're tired. And it was like that mental push of like, when you physically feel tired, you have to mentally overcome that. And you got to pick your sister up. Like, one person is falling and he's like, well, if we don't all finish, we're going to be out here all day. So it's like, dang, this is my sister. And we all just crying and hugging each other. And it's like, those were life lessons that I took. But back to you anyways. So coming from El Dorado background, DP was like one of our rival schools. Yeah, so was that ever like a little, ooh, I'm over at DP now?
I think about that honestly all the time because for high school for me, because I didn't go to college and play sports. So like, you know, when I look back at my, you know, my scholastic years or my competitive years, it's high school. And, you know, we championed that maroon and gold. Like,
come on now,
big time. And I'm an East Side product, you know, like East Side, you know, all the way through. You know, granted, I've been blessed, and you know, we own a house elsewhere, but you know, I'm an East Side kid. So to go to DP was absolutely, I thought about that, you know, and me and, you know, Dame, who was a Desert Pines product, you know, he grew up, graduated from Desert Pines, and now, you know, he had coached at Desert Pines for the time he was there. So we would talk a little bit, but once you're there, it's like, you know, you get involved in it. And part of that is I champion whatever brand I'm a part of. And I'll give you a quick example. When I worked at Tesla, my nickname was Mr. Tesla, Captain Tesla. Like,
that's so cool.
I was all about EV. I was all about Tesla. I was all about sustainable energy. So I remember I got hired. This is like 2016, 2017. You know, I'm promoting Tesla before it was really a mainstream thing. I'm at the family, you know, cookouts and Thanksgiving. I'm like, hey man, you guys gotta get involved. And you know, they thinking I'm crazy. But I was so about it, right? You know, I joined Coinbase, and I'm all about cryptocurrency. I'm all about Web3. I'm all about technology. I'm all about, sufficiency and things like that. So now being at Desert Pines is like, I'm all about the blue and black. I'm all about the culture of the kids, and not just the athletes, but I want the students, the everyday guys and girls that go to class every day. I want them to feel proud and have a really dope experience for these 4 years they're here, because it's everything.
It really is. So what is it? Because now you guys are, it's you, Cab, Mike. Yeah. It's so weird to Mike using. Listen, I got to use everybody's coach name. So you guys are all over there now. So what is it looking like? How's the seasons been? Like, what is the basketball community?
Absolutely. Well,
like over there.
What's different from our day is basketball, especially at the high school level, is almost year round now. Like it's the market is very competitive. If you're a school that wants to be, in those competitive races, you kind of have to keep your foot on the gas all year long. From like right now, we're in October. We just wrapped up the fall league, which is, held at various spots throughout the city. We had summer league. You had border league. You had all these different leagues that really allowed a stage for high school athletes to be showcased and for programs to be developed.
Yeah.
That's fun, because now as we're getting close, we have Halloween hoops coming up. That'll be kind of the last segment before we get into the traditional high school season.
Okay. With Halloween hoops, what is that? Is it like a tournament?
It's just a weekend showcase. Teams will get a chance to play. And again, the awesome heads that came to the table and said, hey, listen, we want to promote Vegas basketball. And we're going to build and develop these platforms where kids, programs, and coaches can come out and showcase and get involved and be competitive year out, and
that sounds cool.
If you are a high school kid, middle school kid, or whatsoever, like there's not a better time right now than to get involved right now, because there's so much opportunity.
So let me ask you this, because I feel like today there's so much social media. I mean, it was there when we were coming up too, but it's just different now.
Different, yeah.
Do you still find a lot of athletes that still have that same discipline or passion for sports? Because there are some schools now, they don't even have like freshman team anymore because they can't find enough kids who still want to play sports.
Absolutely. There's a gray area with that. And a lot of it can come through the year-round aspect of club. Right. So, for instance, I'm also a volleyball coach, World.
Really?
At Desert Pines, believe it or not.
Okay, I got to come out, man.
So right now, I'm currently in volleyball season.
Okay.
And volleyball, believe it or not, is the largest youth sport in North America right now, like by a landslide. And it's particularly women's volleyball. And this is year 3 of me being the women's head coach for volleyball. And what's unique about it
head coach
is
just across the board.
I've never, in my 4 years of high school, attended a volleyball game. Never did I play volleyball, but here I am coaching, and that's not a boast. It's a question mark. Like how does one attain that? Well, when I was coaching the boys basketball and I got the girls head coaching job, my administration saw, they're like, hey, listen, he's doing a great job. He's building numbers. He's getting the program activated. They needed a volleyball coach. They didn't want to do an external hire. They wanted to keep it in-house. Nobody else wanted it. And they asked if I would just kind of do it for a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. The competitor in me is like, I don't like to be sorry at anything. So let me figure out this game. So I just went to YouTube University. I went to some gyms, worked with some different volleyball coaches, and just became a student. And I still am. I just sit and I absorb. And right now, we're a growing program, we're a developing program. But being a part of that landscape, I'm realizing that in order for our volleyball team to be competitive, we got to do it year round.
Yeah.
Because club volleyball is so massive. I mean, they're starting as little as 4 or 5 years old, and they're going, from November to July. It's a big season. So, you see a lot of that aspect, and that also trickles down with basketball and everything else.
And it's just so crazy to hear you say that, because I remember like when I was in high school, I kind of had to pick between volleyball and basketball, and I always regret letting go of volleyball. But one thing that a lot of people don't know is there are like a lot of workouts that you do in volleyball that really can help you and prep you for, your basketball season, especially those defensive slides.
Yes.
The leg work you do in volleyball is crazy. So you didn't watch Christina Mackey at volleyball in El Dorado?
Didn't watch it. No.
Oh, she was a dog. And Sarah, the redheads. You remember Sarah?
I remember them. Yeah, I just didn't.
Oh, gosh.
I just didn't. And I kicked myself because now I'm having so much fun.
Oh, man.
Like you asked me a question about the difference between coaching boys and coaching girls. Well, listen, there's a difference coaching volleyball.
Okay, break that down.
Volleyball by itself is naturally a very celebratory sport. Like they celebrate everything. And that's what drew me to it. Like we're playing a game and I'm watching, the other team warm up, and everything is like howdy, howdy. They're high fiving, they're chanting. The crowd gets involved. It's amazing. It's so fun. It's so entertaining. And when you watch high level volleyball, it's so fast paced. Like, and I remember my first practice. I knew nothing about volleyball, and as a basketball coach, I did what I knew how to do. Baseline. We running suicides. They said, "Coach, what's suicides?" I said, "Let me show you." I show them suicides. I never forget my senior at the time. She looks at me. She says, "Hey, coach." I said, "What's up?" She says, "This is volleyball, right? We don't do a lot of running."
Like, what's going on, buddy?
We don't do a lot of running. I said, "Well, this team gonna run."
Yeah, no, for real. And even with volleyball, how you like shift on the court, like you could take that to your, your defense setup, the 2-3 zones, and that communication. It's just crazy how both of those sports, I feel like people don't really realize how much they connect. So if you got, basketball players be like, hey, you need to go do some volleyball in the off season. So like, what has the past 4 seasons been look like? Have we been having winning seasons? Is it up and down?
At one point, I was the head coach for 3 programs at Desert Pines. I was the women's head coach for basketball, women's head coach for volleyball, and then I was the boys head coach for men's volleyball. And that was daunting. I mean, again, shout out to these coaches that do it full time. Like, I mean, you're not just running practices; you're building programs. You're monitoring grades, personalities, emotions, parents. Oh my gosh, parents. That's a whole nother conversation. But you're doing a lot, right? And my success with that was the boys was amazing because I had helped lead them to the most wins that Desert Pines had ever won in men's volleyball in the history of Desert Pines.
Oh,
so that was a huge shout out. That was huge. But shout out to the players and the coaching staff that helped make that happen. Yeah. So right now we're chasing that type of success on our women's side. We haven't seen that. A lot of it's development. I have a lot of first year players, but what's exciting is the feedback I get from other coaches, from winning programs. When I play against bigger schools and they're like, hey, listen, coach, you have a great thing. I have a program of about 35 girls, and they're like, hey, you have a great thing. All the years we've coached against Desert Pines, they've never had this. And this is great. And it's not me. I don't like to boast myself, but it just shows that anybody who has a thought to care and put passion behind it, you'll see the reap the success of that.
Now, coaching young women, how do you deal with keeping them focused off of the men, the boys? Because that was another thing with us too, where it's like no boys before practice, like focus. How do you deal with that? Part
of that is you control what you can control, right? Like I can't control outside of the gym, but the gym is my domain. The gym is, from the hours of 2 to 4:30, it is volleyball, right? This is your house. This is our house. This is where we eat, sleep, breathe volleyball or basketball or whatever the sport may be at the time. And, within that sphere of influence, you try to cultivate them, you try to build an environment where it promotes, success. It promotes, clarity of mind, don't lose sight of vision. But you do have those moments where like you'll have somebody come to practice and they're emotional and you find out it's because of a heartbreak. Yeah. So I don't chastise them about, well, you shouldn't, I stay far away from that aspect, but I try to continue to build them up and again, empower them to, understand what that emotion is coming from and how can we learn from this? How can we move forward from this? Don't let these things define you, right? But a lot of times, you find these relationships and they almost look for validation. Yeah. Like it's homecoming season right now, right? Today we have homecoming at our school and they're like, Coach Will, do you approve of my homecoming day? And I'm like,
I love that.
I'm flattered by it, but, at the same time, it's just like, I understand why they would ask me that, and, sometimes it's the boys basketball players that want to talk to the volleyball girls, and at the end of the day, you're somebody important to them on both sides.
For sure. So you're definitely like that father figure.
Yeah, you play your part.
I love that. So to briefly touch on the crazy parents, has there ever been a time where because you get the parents that's like, why you won't play my kid? And like sometimes your kid just sucks. How do you handle that? Because see, that's why I'd just be like, why? Because they suck.
On the outside looking in, before I got involved as coach, when I was just, an adult who would come and kind of support and watch from the crowd, it was easy to say stuff like that. I mean, brush those parents off or just say what you feel. But when you're in the situation, you become more empathetic and you understand. And those are hard conversations to have with parents, when you have to talk to them about, like I have a player, who's a senior who doesn't play a whole lot, for volleyball. And, when mom is like, hey, she wants to know the why. Yeah. Those are hard conversations, but it's while you're in that role. And you should be, because at the end of the day, as a parent, most parents, they simply just want transparency. Yeah, they want understanding. Yeah. But at the same time, it's also something that you draw early on as a coach. So one of my things with basketball, particularly because basketball is a little bit more parent involved than volleyball, it's like we set the tone early in the season. When we have our parent meeting, they get a chance to know who I am. If I'm a great fit as coach, for these next 3-4 years for your player, and here's my guidelines, here's my rules, here's the things that I need as a coach. And if a parent, if we can agree, great. If we can't agree, then there's no hard feelings. We understand that. And most parents, that's all they respect, and that's okay.
I love that. So with also being a coach, there is the balance of family. It's coaching and family. How do you know how to turn off the coaching emotions? Do you take those losses home? Like, how does wife deal with that? How does the family deal with that? How do you separate it? Because that's heavy.
It's very heavy, and it's a real thing. It's something that, now being more seasoned, I take advice from the ones that have given it to me before, and you have to find that balance. You have to. But I'm not who I am, as coach, as Denzel, as youth pastor. I'm not any of that without my wife.
Shout out to wifey.
Yeah, she is. She's everything. She's my support. She's my confidence. She's also my accountability partner. She also holds me.
Come on now, I hit this church button, Denzel. Don't play.
She's also what helps. And I found that my accomplishments as a coach has begun to be more seen because I now involve her. If that makes sense. For instance, she rode with me on the bus to our away game last night, to a volleyball game.
Oh, that's beautiful.
She's involved when she can be with the team. And she's not trying to be like team mom or anything like that. But when she can, we make it a family affair. My kids sometimes will come to practice with me. Yeah. And, they get involved. And now they're like, my daughter wants to play volleyball. My son loves basketball.
Aww.
And I've made the identity that I'm wearing now a part of my family's identity. And it's only because of their support that I'm able to operate in the role in which I am now.
And I got some fun questions for us too, but one last question that popped in my mind. How do you deal with the parents that are a little too hard on their kids because they kind of, they live through them and they want them to, live the athletic career that they didn't get to, succeed at? How do you handle those situations?
Again, that all starts with, understanding what's the vision, right? If you're... Okay. I don't the current program I'm coaching right now, I don't have, players who are, 5-star recruits, who,
not yet.
Not yet, right? Where every moment is like make or break Division I basketball. Every parent thinks their child is going to Division I. But, you cater based upon, the crowd in which you're coaching, the parents, what's the vision? Some of the first questions I ask them when they're looking to bring them on, like, hey, what's the vision? What are we getting from it? And the biggest thing is when they understand your values as a coach, they try to align with it. And some parents know their weaknesses. So I have a closed practice. I don't let parents watch my practice because I don't want, that child to underperform or feel they have to over-impress a parent who may be a little harsh. But I also do encourage participation because, listen, as coaches, we're nothing without parents. Listen, I'm always going to champion the parents' involvement. I want parents involved, but it's a silver lining with a coach where parents give you that respect as head coach.
Yeah. So. What about, you said you close off to the parents. Are you closed off to like media and content creators like myself? If I want to pull up to a practice, maybe get some footage of you guys or do some content?
In the age in which we live in, I think media is a necessity.
Okay, so is that my open invite? Or
you are welcome.
Can I pull up to the DP Jaguars?
Anytime.
The Lady Jags is what you guys are called.
Anytime.
All right, anytime. Remember, it's on camera. I'm going to run it back. I'm like, hey, y'all. But so when does the season start? Volleyball is still going right now?
Yeah, so volleyball, we're at the about last 2 weeks of the season.
Okay.
And then high school basketball starts late November, early December. So.
Oh, okay, yep, right after that Thanksgiving break officially.
Right after Thanksgiving break.
Okay, I'm gonna come out. All right. You ready for these fun questions? I gotta do my game music.
Let's do it.
Coach Will.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready? What separates a player with talent from a player with heart?
Ooh, that's a good one. Player with heart takes absolutely no skill, simply just effort.
And that's how you answered. Okay, now it's heating up. The top 5 Las Vegas Hoopers on your list. Go.
Ooh, top 5.
Top 5.
No particular order. I gotta go with my man Pierre Jackson.
Ooh,
gotta go with Elijah Johnson. Gotta go with Montreal Clark. Gotta go with DeVale Jackson. And man, I know I'm missing somebody. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Listen, I'm sorry. I can't call it Las Vegas, but I will always give this man respect. Luke Babbitt out there in the Northern Nevada. I'm sorry. Luke Babbitt is a monster. I'm sorry. I gotta give it to him.
No, that's a heavy top 5. Pat Elijah Johnson. I wasn't expecting you to say that.
A lot of people don't put Elijah in their top 5.
And went to Kansas and still was tweaking.
A lot of people don't put Elijah up there, but that list, I mean, you can have these debates for hours, you know.
Come on.
Yeah, I feel like every player has played their part, you know, but I can only speak on the area in which I was a part of and I seen and witnessed and maybe had to guard. I mean, I could have threw Anthony Marshall up there. I mean, he's another all-time legend.
For sure. Yeah. But hey, that's a nasty top 5. You got Pierre, I remember watching Pierre and Trell go at it. It was like a playoff game. Oh, it was unreal. I mean, they were just threes back and forth. You probably was there. I don't know. It was just crazy. That's a top 5 for you.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark, explain your why.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It's only right because you are Coach Will. You coach the ladies as well. Come on.
I am a fan of both by far.
But you can only pick one.
I'm biased, okay? And I'm gonna be biased for this particular reason. I'm a guard. And played as a guard and I cater to guard. So I'm gonna go with Caitlin Clark.
Oh, okay, because I thought you was finna say the other one. You was gonna break my heart. Okay. I just feel like that's a good answer. Okay. I had some rebuttal prepared in case you said Angel Reese, because
I will argue Caitlin Clark to the grave. I'm sorry. Like, she is.
Like, I feel like if you had, because you're a coach of young ladies, like if you wanted them to, kind of watch film on either Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark, who you can pick?
Skill set and fundamentals are things that
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about color, skin, or any of that. And I feel like that's the big distraction between
popularity. Like, move that to the side. Like, if we're going skill development, we're going, just the attributes of the game. Like, it's hard to say no to that.
All right. I do not have to revoke your coaching card. Great answer. If you could change one thing about the Vegas basketball culture, what would it be, if anything?
Man. I think Vegas basketball culture is still being defined. I think it's I think it's a pruning process, and I think programs, not just high school, but those that operate year round as a club, and those individual trainers. Shout out to those who, again, I champion anybody who takes their time to cultivate and pour into somebody else's child, and you're giving them tools and you're giving them things that they may or may not use, right? And so I'm always promoting it. And I think that if we can continue to move forward, and I think that if we can continue to have this inclusive environment where, others can be celebrated and, sometimes just being recognized. But part of being a coach that I'm learning is that you're going to do a lot of things that you may never be recognized for. You may never receive an accolade. You may never be given a shout out. You have kids right now who are going to graduate, who are going to walk across that stage, who are going to go commit 4 years at a university, and you may never get a thank you. But you have to just know that, you know what, I played a part in that, and this is what I signed up for, and I have to be okay doing that.
Wow, that was good. You might know what you're doing over here, Coach Will. I'm proud of you, man. So to briefly go back, because we were talking about, growing up on the east side, we took a couple losses from, childhood friends. How did you deal with that? Because, those were some of your close friends as well. And
listen, man, that
rest in peace, Daytron.
Rest in peace, Daytron, my man E, to their families, my big sis, Diana, we always love and praying for you. Daytron for me was hard because, that was my best friend. That was my dog.
Y'all were always together.
Yeah, we met each other middle school, 8th grade at Bailey. He was one of the first kids that kind of, came around, and, we just kind of clicked from, like one of our favorite movies growing up was The Wood. And, we've always liked those coming of age movies where, you're a young man and you kind of see each other growing up. And I remember being in high school, like we would always talk about what adult life looks like. Yeah. We would talk about, man, we just can't wait to get a job. We can't wait to get fly and just like be grown men doing grown things. And like, that was the thing that really drove him. And, we went a different path in terms of like our life. He went college for a while and came back, and then I went to corporate life, and then got into the ministry. And I just remember always remembering those moments as kids, and then kind of seeing him as a father, and him seeing me as a father. And he was the best man at my wedding, and then, to see him see me, live out, and grow up in that kind of way. Yeah. But to lose him the way we did, that was hard, because losing him felt like I lost a part of my childhood. You know, I feel like I lost like.
I'm sorry.
Like I remember, you know, like my dad was real strict, right? So like any level of mischief I got into, any house party I've ever been to, it wasn't because my dad let me go. I'll tell you that. You know, it wasn't because my dad let me go, but Daytron was like my ride or die. He would, you know, we would cover for each other and we would go places together, and it's just like I felt like I lost a part of that, you know, because he passed. But I'm also optimistic in knowing that he's in a great place because I knew his faith. I knew what he felt on the inside. I knew what his desires was. I knew his family's hope for him. So I'm at peace knowing that he's okay.
I love that. That was beautiful. So perfectly said. Yeah. Before I let you get out of here, just as a coach, if there are any young athletes out there and they just need some inspiration or maybe some wisdom, what are 2 things you would tell them?
Ooh, a good one. Well, one that I can continue to champion myself is that know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you know, begin to find it out. Because everything that, you know, we teach in sports, it all adds to life. And, you know, overcoming adversity, you know, your commitment to oneself, you know, and if there's a thing that you absolutely love, you showcase it by your effort. And then you have to look at yourself and ask yourself the question, does my effort match my goals? And if it doesn't match, then we have to have a discussion. And that's something that's internal. And the sooner you find that out, the sooner you're able to accomplish what it is that you set yourself out for. And last part is never be afraid to ask questions. I'm gonna give you this short story. What got me into the car business was I was a bank teller at a credit union. And I'm, you know, natural transactions over and over again. And I remember there was this gentleman coming to the bank. He had to be no older than like 25, 26. And he kept depositing these massive checks. So one day I'm like, I told my buddy next to me, I said, I'm going to ask him what he do for a living. And he was laughing, like, you know you want. I said, watch this. So he comes up. I said, man, what do you do for a living? With all due respect. I said, I see, you know, you deposit. I said, life look good for you. I'm just curious. He says, with kind of a smirk, he said, man, I sell cars. I said, you sell cars?
Sheesh.
And he broke it down to me, sell cars. 2 weeks later, I was working at a car dealership. Ooh. My first paycheck was a check I've never seen before. And
the commission is crazy like that?
Off the charts. And granted, there's hard work, you know, there's hours and, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you put into it. But me asking questions allowed me to get in a position that car sales job helped me and my wife buy our first house. You know, it helped me. Like I have a nice stock exchange because I was sitting next to a coworker and he was talking about portfolios and all that, and I didn't know what he was talking about. Yeah. And I said, man, what is this? And we had lunch together and he showed it to me. And because of that, he helped me and my wife buy our second house.
And come on with the second house. You better.
It's things like that, you know, when you have support. I talk to my father-in-law, I talk to my mother-in-law, you know, and you ask questions. You ask people who've done it before you. Yeah. Never be afraid to ask questions. Yeah. Never.
I love that, man. Denzel, aka Coach Will, just seeing you from high school and, you know, when we were young teenagers, to seeing the man you are now, I am so proud of you. I continue to wish you the best success in life. I hope you guys have an amazing basketball season and get all the wins except against El Dorado. Sorry, Lady Jags. It's real beef there. No, I'm just playing. But and to the volleyball team. And I will definitely be out to support and, you know, might pull up to a practice, get some contact.
Please, you can pull up anytime. And again, shout out to you. Shout out to this amazing platform.
Thank you.
Listen, I implore you all out there, you know, those who may tune in, you know, subscribe, support somebody who's local, somebody who's been here, somebody who's at the moment in live time changing the culture.
Oh, so shout out to you. That was amazing. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to get more into like the sports side of it as well on this platform, doing music and sports. So thank you for coming in.
Absolutely.
Being my second coach. You know, I had you and Mook, and hopefully I get more. Tell Cap to come on over here too.
Hey, Cap will love it.
Yeah, Cap, come on down.
That's my young gunner right there.
All right, perfect. So yeah, we definitely gonna, you know, we got to start Jaguars. I tried to get some of the Sun Devils. I got to find them still. Get them in here.
Shout out to the new coach over there. So I know they're not Sun Devils. Coach Solomon. So he's doing a great job with the program.
Solomon. He went to Elder?
He's from out of town. But
okay.
Miss Lisa is back at El Dorado.
I did see that before I deactivated Facebook. I saw that.
And they're changing the culture there. So shout out to them. That. Shout out to that whole program over there.
Okay, so she got one of her big dogs up in there. Okay, men's basketball coach. Who's still over there? Do you know?
Men's basketball. The head coach is Solomon, but
okay. I thought
he's a head coach, but I like seeing our alma mater pushing forward. So
I love that. Shout out to everybody. I definitely gotta get out more into our young athletic community for sure, because I feel like they definitely need more media coverage, more spotlight, because we have stars, across the board. And again, thank you so much for coming to bless my platform. With that being said, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. If you do have time this season, come out and support the Lady Jags. We really have to start showing up for our young athletes. Let's try to fill those benches, the bleachers, while they sit on the bench. And hopefully your child gets in the game. If not, do not harass Coach Will. Work with them off season. Left hand probably a little weak. She keep going to the right, baby.
We try. We try.
No, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you later.